judge somebody's value on what happens to the company or the relationship when they leave. Good luck, Pittsburgh, without Big Ben. Listen, they were still very exciting last year without Le'Veon Bell. But you watch him against New England and you watch him against Seattle, and something was wrong with Big Ben. His accuracy last year was amazing. He completed 67% of his throws last year. But in the last 2 weeks, something was wrong with Big Ben, and something yesterday against Seattle popped. Doesn't help he was facing Belichick and Pete Carroll, great defensive coaches. But you can judge somebody. The AFC is done this morning. New England, Kansas City, it's done. The question now, do they play at Arrowhead in January or do they play in Foxborough? I mean, I thought that this morning before this. Now it's over. I mean, spare me on Cleveland. Tennessee lost at home to Indianapolis's backup. Baltimore, they're fun. Lamar Jackson, but they struggled at home with Arizona. Rookie quarterback, second game. Rookie head coach, second game. Chargers lost to Detroit. What the hell was that? Look around. Houston struggled with Gardner Minshew. They came within a second of losing. You start looking around the AFC this morning, there's some fun stories. Cleveland tonight could be fun. Baltimore's really fun. But, Tennessee, you can't trust Tennessee. You can't trust Houston. You're crossing your fingers watching Deshaun Watson duck to get out of the way of sacks. It's over. The AFC is over because Pittsburgh was formidable. The owner, the GM, the coach, the quarterback, the offensive line, they beat New England last year. It's a formidable organization. It's over. And I know, listen, Big Ben may wear some of you out. I get it. But whereas everybody loves Cam and he's never had back-to-back winning seasons, Big Ben threw for, how many yards did he throw for last year? He had like 67% completion percentage. But you watched him in these first two games against New England and Seattle, and something was off. His accuracy was below average. He's completing like 57% of his throws. Now the injury, boom, season over for Pittsburgh. And I didn't feel that way as long as Big Ben would return. They were leading Seattle. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. This is a great organization. Best offensive line arguably in the AFC. I don't trust anybody in their division. I was not going to bail on Pittsburgh this morning. It was one of my rants. I'm like, it'd be close. Just because you lose to a Hall of Fame coach and quarterback yesterday and a Hall of Fame coach and quarterback in the opener, New England's pretty good. So Seattle. Seattle's won 8 of 9. I wasn't going to bail on the Steelers. But now Big Ben's out, season over. And again, I've been a critic at times of Big Ben and Aaron Rodgers. You notice what Green Bay looks like without Aaron? You figure out pretty quick he's the team. This Steeler defense is now struggling. What's Pittsburgh without Big Ben? I don't know. I haven't seen much of it. You're going to find out. They're going to be Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers. So I don't have to love everything a quarterback does, and Rodgers and Big Ben certainly qualify as that. But the season's over. You can't trust anybody in the AFC except New England and Kansas City. So Andy Reid, Belichick, mark it down. We just got to figure out, are they playing in snow in Foxborough or rain and hail in Kansas City? But that's what it feels like this morning. Now I'm going to move over to the NFC and the Saints. Now Drew Brees this morning is out for 6 weeks. I do not think their season is over. But this is what's interesting. My strongest play yesterday, my strongest bet was Rams over the Saints. That's with Drew Brees. Because sometimes a brand is so strong, and if it lasts long enough, it's hard to unwrap that. Like, the restaurant you go to for 20 years and the food's great, somebody retires, they change chefs, and you still go to it, and you just don't want to believe the food's not as good. For the last 15 years in this league, there have been 3 consistent things. New England wins, Cleveland's dysfunctional, and the Saints' offense is dynamic. It hasn't been dynamic since post-Thanksgiving last year, and we just can't wrap our brains around it. Yesterday, Drew Brees, 2 possessions, interception, 3 and out. Do you know since last year, week 13, we can't wrap our brains around this. The Saints' offense isn't even average. It's bad. It's 22nd in points, 19th in yards, 19th in passing, 20th in yards per play. And a lot of those games were at home. This is an eroding brand. Drew Brees does not throw the ball down the field. Teddy Bridgewater, his backup, does not. And with the Saints, there's so much sympathy for that bad call. And yesterday there's a bad call. And oh my God, the refs are out. This is not a ref issue. That game in New Orleans against the Rams went to overtime. They couldn't move the ball. That game yesterday, Brees couldn't move it when he was in. Teddy couldn't move it when he was in. This is an offense that is not very dynamic. Only one other team in the NFL throws the ball down the field less than New Orleans. That's their reality. They're 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 games. What does that tell you? The brand, the fans are betting on something, and that's not the reality. So, and this is nothing against Drew Brees, but this was why this was my strongest play yesterday. I think we are so caught up in their brand, which has been so strong and so dynamic for years, that we just can't admit what we're watching now is a pop gun offense. Dak throws the ball down the field way better. And if you notice this in the NFL, with all the spacing in the NFL, you got to have a deep threat. That's why Belichick went and got AB, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. That's why Philadelphia, one of the best GMs in the league, went out and got Deshaun Jackson. What you're seeing in the NFL now, the Rams throw the ball. That's why they paid Brandon Cook so much money. Look at the top teams in the NFL. Like, as the game is changing, quarterbacks now, mobile quarterbacks. That's a trend. Here's the other trend. You got to be able to beat people over the top. And all the teams I like in this league can do it. Green Bay does it. AB to New England does it. Seattle does it. Houston does it. Philadelphia does it. The Rams do it. The Chargers can do it. So I think what you're seeing with New Orleans, everybody's going to blame the refs. Again yesterday, everybody's going to blame the refs. But this football team in New Orleans, with or without Drew Brees, is not the same. It is just that's with Alvin Kamara. That's with Sean Payton. It's just a dink, 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 dink. And you can't. Why did the Rams win yesterday? Wasn't the officials. They made 2 huge over-the-top plays. One in the first quarter, one in the fourth. Big plays down the field. Saints no longer do it. So Big Ben is out. I think it ends the Steelers season because you'll notice what happens when somebody really gifted leaves a company or leaves the room changes. The temperature changes. I do not think the Saints season is over, but I think it was incredibly limited. That's why I did not have them in the herd hierarchy last week, and I got a lot of heat. I'm like, watch the games. Watch the games. The Saints don't scare anybody offensively. They don't throw the ball over the top. All right, so I got a lot of things to address here. Obviously, these stories are massive. And for the record, I want to throw out a theory. Maybe it doesn't matter with quarterbacks. Maybe it does. The trend in the NFL is starters don't play in the preseason. The downside to that is games 1 and 2, you're going from 0 to 60. A lot of players hurt. And the preseason was not just about getting better at execution. The NFL preseason, I was told this years ago by Bill Polian, you got to get hit for 3 weeks. You got to get those calluses. You got to get ready to get hit. Now starters don't play in the preseason. They just don't play. The Rams started it last year. They don't play. Did you notice how tired teams looked in week 1? Tired athletes get hurt. And you're seeing it all over the NFL. There's just a lot of injuries, and it's a trend. And this is one of these things, the NFL, you're going to see probably next year a few more starters play a few more snaps in the preseason. This is a very cyclical league, right? Like, things change constantly in the NFL. The big trend now, don't play preseason. It feels like to me in the first couple of weeks we're having a lot of injuries because you're asking athletes to go from 0 to 60 and stuff's snapping, stuff's getting hurt. Players aren't used to getting hit. You're seeing it all. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, a great running back, didn't even have that many carries. MRI first weekend. Felt like in Pittsburgh, he carried the ball 350 times a year, never got hurt. He goes to the Jets, first game, he's hurt. Why? He didn't take a hit for two years. So that's a real trend. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.